Okay, so here's a quick introduction to playing audio and editing audio from the terminal. The very first thing that we'd like to do is navigate to our home directory, and hopefully you've saved the demo files that were posted to Moodle up onto the desktop. So I'm going to change directory to my desktop and then change the directory to the folder that contains all the demo files, and that was SoX _demo. So now I'm in the directory. If I'm not sure where I am, I can use the pwd command to present the working directory that says that here I am on my desktop and in the SoX folder. And if I want to see the files that are in this folder, I just type the ls command, and it says that I've got two files in here. I've got a WAV file called 123 and a second WAV file called 456. Very first thing that I'd like to do is play one of these to hear what it sounds like. So I'll type in the Unix command AF for audio file play, and then type in the name of the file that I'd like to play, so 123.wave. And when I hit enter, I should hear the audio file.
1, 2, 3.
And there it is. If I'd like to get some information on that, I can use a command called afinfo, which is audio file info. Type in the same audio file there, hit enter, and this tells me some interesting things. It says that I've got a 2-channel WAV file. The sampling rate is 44,100 Hertz at 16 bits, and then gives me some information about how long it is and how much space that's taking up. So AF play and AF info to get basic information or listen to audio files. I'm going to go ahead and clear my screen now with the clear command. And now I'm going to start using SoX to edit the audio from the command line. And the first thing I'd like to do is take those two files that we have in our folder, which is a reminder, here they are, 123 and 456, and I'd like to concatenate them together, or put them in order so I have one audio file that says 123456. So the first thing I do is I call the SoX command, and then I just list the files that I'd like to put together, 123.wave and 456.wave, and I'd like to put those two files into a new file called 123.456.wave, and I hit enter. Look at the files in the directory again, and there it is. I now have 3 files, and if I use AF play to listen to my new file, 123.456, this is what it sounds like.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So SoX put those two files together for us. Let's use SoX to try something else. Let's use SoX to change the volume, and let's make it really, really loud. So we'll take SoX 123.456.wave, the file we just made, and we'll make it loud.wave. That'll be the name of the file that it produces. And we just input a couple of commands for SoX. So in particular, volume, and what we want the volume to be is a multiplier. And I'm going to do volume 3. So it'll be 3 times louder than it was before. I hit enter. There's a bit of a warning. It says you've clipped a number of samples. Would you like to decrease the volume? And so when we listen to this, hit ls, we have a file there called loud. Now when we listen to it, we should expect that this will be a little bit distorted. So AF play loud.wave.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You could hear a little bit of clipping at the end of that. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of that loud file. So I'm going to use the rm command for remove loud.wave, and now when we look at the files that are in our folder, we just have 123 and those 3 files. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is trim out some numbers. So SoX 123.456, and we want to create a WAV file that's just the numbers 3 and 4, so we're essentially just grabbing the middle of that file. And the way we use that, access this, is the trim command within SoX. So trim, from 2 seconds in, 2 seconds worth. So trim 2 space 2. And again, that just means go 2 seconds into the audio file, and then give me the next 2 seconds, which is the numbers 3 and 4. We hit enter. We look at the files that are in our folder, and let's go ahead and play 3/4 wave. So AF play 3/4.
3, 4.
So we've used SoX to trim some audio, which is nice, rather than doing that in Audacity where we would have to do that graphically. The next thing that we'll do is reverse, or put a reverse effect on our audio files. Let's clear the screen, give ourselves a little bit of room. So we'll use the SoX command, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.wave will be our input. And then let's just call this, even though it won't sound like this, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or those numbers in reverse, but truly they'll be backwards, so we won't be able to understand them. And the SoX command to reverse an audio file is just reverse. And you can see we've got some word wrap going on here. So I hit enter, look at the files in my folder with ls, and now I will play the file that I just made, 65431.wave. Listen to that. It'll be me counting in reverse.
6, 5, 4, 3, no.
Okay. Let's go ahead and clear the screen again. A couple more things. We're just going to save our counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to try to make that file size smaller now. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take it from being a stereo file to just a mono file. So call the SoX command, we'll use our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 file as the input. Our output file we'll call mono.wave. And then in order to reduce this down to one channel, we just use the SoX command channels, plural, and tell SoX how many channels we want, which is just one. Hit enter, it runs the command, look at the files in our folder, and let's just get some info now with audio file info on our mono file, mono.wave. And notice that we have one channel here, still 44,100 Hertz sampling rate, still 16-bit. And if we were to compare the size of these files, we'd see that it's half the size. All right, now let's take that mono file that we just made and let's reduce the sampling rate down to half to save some more space. So I'll clear my screen. The command for that is SoX. And as an input now, we'll take our mono file, mono.wave, and use the -R to change the sampling rate to 22050. And then we'll rename the file that we want. So rename mono to something called, let's say, low sampling rate.wave, and hit enter. If we look at the info now, audio file info for low SR.wave, see that we've only got one channel, got a lower sampling rate, and still 16-bit. And if you were to compare the size of these files, you'd see that it had been cut in half yet again. Unlike Audacity, which limits our sampling rate to 8,000 samples per second, with SoX we could put in literally as low of a sampling rate as we wanted. So we could put in a sampling rate of 200 or 300. You'd have to think about the Nyquist theorem there to make sure that you could actually capture your audio with such a low sampling rate, but it can be done in SoX. It will do whatever you tell it to do. All right, the very last thing that we'll do, let's take a look at the files we've made, is we'll take our low sampling rate wave and we will change it into a compressed format, a lossy format, and we'll use OGG. And conversion in SoX is really, really easy. We just type in the SoX command, the name of what we'd like to convert. So lowsr.wave is our input, and our output will be what we'll call compressed. It's just a file name. You can name it whatever you want. And then some extension that is a lossy file format. So in this case, OGG. If you have the LAME encoder installed, you could do MP3 here as well. Hit enter. And look at our files that are in our folder. You see we've got something called compressed.ogg, and I'm not quite sure that audio file info will work for us. We'd have to open that compressed file in Audacity in order to see it and to listen to it. But we could look and see how big that file is. And our compressed OGG file, this is the number of bytes right here, 31,780. And when we compare that to our original 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wave, it's substantially smaller. So that's all for SoX, just a few basic things. Once you get comfortable editing audio at the command line, you can start doing things like scripting and batch processing, and save yourself a whole lot of time. We'll look at that in another tutorial.